All right, now we're going to talk about the present with President Donald Trump. 2016 was the year of political upsets. In 2015, there was a flood of more than 1 million refugees and immigrants into Europe from the Middle East and Africa, which fueled a backlash against worldwide globalization trends. In 2016, there was the Brexit vote by Great Britain to leave the 28-nation European Union, which is still in process. There were many struggling middle-class families that felt like their jobs, their safety, their cultural identities were under attack, which then sparked the rise of more nationalistic policies. An anti-immigration sentiment was also a major factor within Brexit. The U.S. had unsolved issues of 11 million undocumented immigrants and the loss of manufacturing jobs to lower-wage countries in Asia and Latin America. In the 2016 presidential election, the most vocal leader against globalization was Donald J. Trump, a well-known real estate developer and reality TV show personality. He aggressively attacked immigration by saying, "Build a wall," Washington politicians by saying, "Drain the swamp," and international trade deals like NAFTA while promoting a nationalist movement to, quote, "make America great again." Trump's effective use of slogans, social media, and large rallies helped him to defeat 13 other candidates and capture the Republican presidential nomination. From the Democratic Party, Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State, U.S. Senator, and First Lady, was the party leadership's favorite to capture the Democratic nomination. Nevertheless, Bernie Sanders challenged her through the primaries with progressive arguments against income inequality, trade-related job losses, and money in politics. Clinton finally clinched the nomination in California and became the first woman from a major party to run for the presidency of the United States. The polls favored Clinton to win. However, a controversy over her, quote, "extreme careless" use of a personal computer server fed the perception that she was untrustworthy. Meanwhile, Trump's bold attacks energized non-college educated and working class voters, adding them to the traditional Republican base. On election night, Trump surprised media predictions by winning Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, along with traditional swing states, and captured 306 electoral votes against Clinton's 232. Clinton did win the popular vote by almost 3 million, though. The Republican Party also held firm control of both the House and the Senate, giving them the best opportunity to enact their agenda since 2006. It was found that Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election using social media and hacking Democrats' emails. They also reportedly hacked into voting systems. As for the Trump administration, he became the first president who had never held elected office, a top government post, or a military rank. His vice president was Governor Michael Pence from Indiana, and he filled his cabinet with experienced business leaders as opposed to traditional government leaders. There was large cabinet turnover in his first few years in office. In 2017, President Trump signed into law the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which focused on simplifying the individual income tax for millions of households. In December 2018, we experienced the longest government shutdown at 35 days. Trump held off on signing the new budget because he wanted lawmakers to allocate $5.7 billion in funding for a border wall. He was hoping to pressure Democrats into making a deal, but he was eventually forced into reopening the government without an agreement. The U.S. economy lost about $11 billion during the 5-week period, but about $8 billion of that would be recouped as employees received back pay. Through the shutdown, President Trump argued that the wall was necessary to stem a, quote, "growing humanitarian and security crisis at our southern border involving thousands of illegal immigrants." However, figures show that illegal border crossings have actually seen an overall decline since 2000. Trump eventually declared a national emergency after the shutdown ended to allocate funds to build a wall on the border with Mexico. In 2019, President Trump established the Space Command, which is a new military unit to oversee the security of satellites. Trump succeeded in adding 2 new conservative Supreme Court justices, Neil Gorsuch, pictured on the left, and Brett Kavanaugh, pictured on the right. As for impeachment, in the summer of 2019, Trump was accused of trading military and security aid in exchange for Ukrainian aid in investigating the Biden family. The impeachment hearings began on November 13th, 2019. And on December 10th, 2019, 2 articles of impeachment were brought to the House. They were abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. On December 18th, 2019, Trump became the 3rd president in U.S. history to be charged with high crimes and misdemeanors by the House of Representatives. And on February 5th, 2020, the Senate acquitted him on both charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. So the House of Representatives charged him with the crimes, but the Senate voted that it was not enough to remove him from office. So President Trump also replaced the North American Free Trade Agreement created by President Clinton with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Trade Agreement.